Alright, Budget Magic, Thing in the Ice, Tutelage. We'll play first. Oh lord. I don't think we can keep that. Well, I guess we gotta keep this and hope for the best, even though, well, Evolving Wilds is something. Highland Lake, go. Triple Magmatic Insight isn't great in your opening hand. Wandering Fumarole? Well, I guess we just Evolving Wilds go. Oh man, this is like a Molda 3, essentially. Since we can't really Magmatic Insight because we need Magmatic Insight to help us get lands. Well, we do get to Fiery Impulse a Jace, which is something. Crack this, get an island. Alright, let's Magmatic Insight, pitching a land. Oh god, that went about as bad as it possibly could. Oh no. We discard a land and drew 2 spells that we can't cast. Opponent has Thing in the Ice and a land. We draw land. Well, I guess we land into Fevered Visions. Draw another land, so that's good. Still no Tutelage, still can't bounce Thing in the Ice. We are a few lands short of that, and our opponent most likely has counters. Jorien, Ruin Diver. And a tap land. Opponent draws a card, loses 2 life. Well, that's a Tutelage. Well, let's play Tutelage. Actually, let's play the island first. So we gotta go island. Sphinx's Tutelage. Pass the turn. We get to draw a card. Ooh, a land helps. Start the milling. Get a Fiery Temper and a mountain. We need more islands so we can bounce all this stuff. We do have Valhemerit's Archive. And Magmatic Insights, which are nice. If we can get enough lands to bounce Thing in the Ice, I will feel better about where we're at. I don't know how many... I think this is the Todd Anderson list. I don't know how many counters that plays. I should probably look. Oh, they're just going to activate Fumarole? Alright, well that hits us for a lot of damage, but doesn't really kill us. And our opponent draws a card, loses 2 life. We do get an island. We mill 2, including a Goggles. Well, let's Magmatic Insight, pitching Highland Lake. Mill our opponent. Mill our opponent. Then we'll... What are we doing now? Engulf the Shores won't hit Fumarole. I think we need to Magmatic Insight again. Pitching a Wandering Fumarole. Mill our opponent. 2 cards, 4 cards. Then we'll play an island. Play a second Tutelage. Pass the turn. We get Fevered Visions for a land. Some more milling. Alright, opponent's down to 28 cards. And hopefully next turn we'll be able to engulf the shore everything back to our opponent's hand. Ooh, Chandra? Yikes. Alright, Chandra hits us for a bunch of damage. Well, if we chain together enough card draw, we could still win. Yeah, we'll redirect to Chandra. We're not going to win this one by damage. Thing in the Ice. Let's play... Let's play Thing in the Ice and an island. Pass the turn. Draw a card. Another Tutelage. We're like 1 turn away. Opponent's down to 18 cards. We should be able to win in 1 turn if we can survive. The question is, will our opponent have a counter spell? I don't know how many main deck counters they play. Alright, they're going to Lightning Axe, pitching a Fiery Temper. So then they also get to Fiery Temper. Draws a card off Jorien. Thing in the Ice down. Plays a land. Oh, I think we got it. They're going to make the tokens Well, as long as we can kill them next turn, we got it. We get to bounce all their creatures back to their hand. So, yeah, we'll wait for them to attack, just in case they have a Dispel or something. And then engulf the shore. Bounces all our opponent's creatures. And our opponent scoops it up. Woo! We got there through the Chandra. Alright. So I'm assuming they're going to bring in some negates. We might also want to bring in some negates. They're a pretty spell-heavy deck. They don't have that many creatures, really. Although the Chandra thing can be annoying. Jace's, Thing in the Ice, and Jorien's are their creatures. And Jace isn't even an attacking creature. Do we even want... Definitely get rid of Crush. And Hydrolash. And maybe some Engulf the Shores as well? Or maybe we go down the Thing in the Ice and have no creatures. Get rid of the things in the ice. That might be risky, but and then bring in negates, Void Shatter, Clash of Wills, and 2 more Fiery Impulse. So with this build, our opponent, any removal they have is dead, and they usually play a lot. Fall the Titan's Lightning Axe, Fiery Tempers in the main. Then their sideboard is usually like Eldrazi Obligators and a few counters. So we can kind of stonewall a lot of their deck by taking out Thing in the Ice. And the bounce isn't that great. Like, if we can keep Chandra from coming down and killing us with tokens, I'm not especially worried about Thing in the Ice and Jorien. We can deal with those in other ways, like Engulf the Shores. The only problem would be, do we want Roast to kill Thing in the Ice? Maybe that's a good idea. Go down and Alhemmerit's Archive for a Roast. And play like a creature-free control build of the deck. One lander. Alright, we gotta ship this one. Alright, that's not horrible. Yeah, we'll keep Tormenting Voice, I think. Well, let's Mountain, Magmatic Insight, pitching Evolving Wilds. Gets us some islands. There's a Thing in the Ice. Scary if it flips. Island, Tormenting Voice, pitching an island. There's a Tutelage and an island. Shivan Reef. And our opponent's going to start trying to flip their Thing in the Ice. And passes. Well, Magmatic Insight. They probably brought in counters. Let's just pass. Pass and plan on Catalog at the end of turn. Bluff a counter spell. Oh, another Magmatic Insight. Well, flipping this Thing in the Ice is pretty scary. Draw near a temple. Alright, let's Catalog. We'll pitch a Fevered Visions, I think. Engulf the Shores, not quite there yet for bouncing Thing in the Ice. So let's Island Sphinx's Tutelage. See if this draws out the counter. Negate. Well, they might flip Thing in the Ice next turn, and we're going to have a hard time beating that. We just didn't find our answers. Magmatic Insight, pitching Highland Lake. Island. Well, we have the ability to bounce it, but if they flip it this turn, it doesn't help. We won't be able to bounce it. So any spell here flips Thing in the Ice, and then we're probably just going to die to that. Yep, they found a Tormenting Voice. Well, our opponent kind of got the Thing in the Ice nut draw. Now it's going to be really hard to kill. We're going to need like triple... Yeah, I don't even know. Triple Fiery Impulse. I guess Roast plus Fiery Impulse, but... Clash of Wills, a little too late. Tormenting Voice, pitching, and Engulf the Shores. Land into Tutelage. 8 is just too much toughness for us to be able to flip. Or bounce. Anticipate. Well, our opponent was on the play, which is part of the reason, and we just didn't draw our roasts. And since they were on the play, we couldn't Clash of Will. And Chandra. Alright, that does it. Sure. Well, we're going to bring in the second roast. Go down one of the... and Engulf the Shores? And try it like that. Alright, game 3 against blue-red, whatever. Todd Anderson deck. Alright, this is fine. We got a bunch of counters, which means we can stop a Thing in the Ice on turn 2. Hopefully we draw into more lands. Otherwise, Tormenting Voice will hopefully get us there. Fumarole, go. Mountain for our opponent. Magmatic, Insight, pitching Yavimaya Coast. Oh, this is a hard turn. Do we draw land? That would make it easier. Void Shatter. We need Tormenting Voice to try to find lands. The problem is, if we whiff, our opponent gets to Thing in the Ice. If we pass, though, then we have to tap out next turn. I think we gotta do it. Tormenting Voice, pitching a Void Shatter. Hopefully, alright, there's lands. So hopefully no Thing in the Ice for one turn. Or we draw into a roast. And punished. Well, let's Magmatic Insight, pitching this island. Gets us some more islands. Play the island, pass the turn. Are we just going to die to Thing in the Ice again? Opponent finds a Tormenting Voice, gets 2 Fiery Temper off of it. Well, we need to draw something. We need a roast or a Fiery Impulse. If we don't draw anything, we're in the same position where we're just going to get hit by Thing in the Ice. Clash of Wills, not going to help. Play the Mountain Pass. So there's a pretty reasonable chance our opponent can just flip Thing in the Ice here and then we lose. Disappointing. Oh my goodness. Sure. Opponent has Magmatic Insight. I mean, it's the nut draw. And we just didn't draw our sideboard cards. Maybe I shouldn't have tapped out there. Maybe that's the problem. Now our outs are very limited. Now we have to draw actual roast. And we have to draw it very soon. Preferably this turn. And we draw another island. And we'll scoop it up.